Yeah, this is called The Ultimate Speech, or The Ultimate Stories. This is just for YouTube followers. And this is just me speaking out from, I guess I could first start out with my views of my life, other people's lives, guitarist, or whatever. And I'm just doing this just something to talk about, something to do, But as me growing up, I had, earlier on had gotten saved and had backslid on the Lord for many years, But with that being said, I try to, through it all, I still, God was always with me, And today the topic for this is just, I guess I'm going to call it my speech or my story, I guess. Anyway, I started going to church, I guess, when I was 8 years old. And, I went to Christian school. My dad brought us up, made us go to Christian school. And I went there for a while. And I just remember later on backsliding on the Lord. I got saved at 8 years old. Backslid on the Lord for many, many years. I didn't graduate school. I left school in 1990 to pursue a military career. It didn't work out. And then in 91 I started playing guitar, and I went to classes for that for a couple months. And learned just basic study on notes and chords and things like that. I don't know where this is going, okay? But the topic is just my story on my life, views, other people's lives, whatever, okay? Anyway, I started playing guitar in 91. Actually, the end of 90 toward 91. I've always had a love for guitar, I remember back in the day, man, my guide was, I had several. I loved Eddie Van Halen, Alex Lifeson of Rush, had a lot of famous guitarists, Quiet Riot, Journey, Neil Schon of Journey. I guess my idol earlier on, I'd have to say either Paul from Kiss, Ace Frehley, Paul, or Gene Simmons. Paul Stanley was probably my pick, back earlier on, back in the early days. And then, of course, I went on to, like the other guitarists, Billy Idol. Billy Idol wasn't the best. He was probably, I guess, I love some of his songs, But the biggest one for me, man, I'd have to say sticks out the most as far as guitarist would have to be Alex Lifeson. Because I loved all his riffs, his riffs he did, the first song I ever heard was Tom Sawyer they did, man, and, he just really, I always wanted to be like him, man, he was the one that sticks out the most in my mind, I'd have to say was Alex Lifeson, because he did a lot of different style riffs, he would do like 2 and 3s, he started out on YYZ, man, he in the intro of the song, he went out with the first riff, the 150, 200 some odd notes he did were two chord jams. 2-note jams. And then he went on to what they call a bluesy hard rock style riff where he did three-part harmonies. And then he did a lot of 4-strokes where he did 4-stroke notes. And I always loved his style of playing because he could run a neck, like nobody had ever seen back in the early 80s. I don't mean to get off track, y'all, but anyway, I'm going from guitarist to something else, okay? But the top 10 guitarists of my time, I'd have to say, was Alex being number one, and then I like Paul Stanley, and then later on, I kind of liked Eddie Van Halen. Joe Satriani, Yngwie Malmsteen, Paul Taylor of Big. I guess earlier days I'd have to say John from CCR was probably the guitarist from him. I can't remember his last name. John, he was probably one of my first ones. Would probably be the 7th on my list. And then other ones I'd have to say Jimi Hendrix was real good. The guy from the Doors, he was pretty good. Then the C.C. DeVille of Poison. And then there's other ones. The guy that did Petra, Bob, he was pretty good. So there was a lot of guitarists. These all were my, growing up, man. Bon Jovi. I could go on and on, man. I mean, the list goes on. But I guess the one that sticks out the most would be Alex Lifeson of Rush. He just had those riffs, man, that I could barely play today. I mean, the intros, it took me 6 months to learn the intros. That's how good he is. It's just 3, 4, 5, 6-part harmonies he does, and a lot of the apregos he throws in, and the harmonic stuff. He does a lot of harmonic stuff, a lot of A major apregos. He does a lot of pentonic riffing, and a lot of it's made up, and that's what I learned. I learned a lot of my stuff from Alex. And if you noticed on my videos here on YouTube, a lot of my riffs are apart from him, But anyway, I started playing, man, at 90, in late, I guess, between early 1990 and early 1991. I was 18, 19 years old when I started playing guitar. I've been playing off and on for about 21, 22 years, okay? But like I said, it's been off and on. I'd guitar to guitar and give it up and go back into it and go do something else, just say the heck with it and try something else. But I did that, I guess for me, my hobbies today I'd have to say is guitar, gaming. I love games, Oblivion, Call of Duty. I've got a PS3. I had an Xbox for 4 years and had a lot of games for them. And I played Xbox for a lot. I played online a lot. I love Gears of War, the first one, second, third. Had all the Gears games. And then, of course, I've had all the Call of Duties except the last 2 they made. I didn't get Modern Warfare 3. I hadn't got Call of Duty Black Ops 2 yet. But I've had all but the last 2 that they made. I've played all of them but the last 2. I've been a Call of Duty fan since 2000, late 2003, early 2000, maybe, 2003. I'd have to say 2003 when I got into Call of Duty. I got into Gears probably 2008, and played it for about 4 years. But the biggest one, I'd have to say today, the best 5 that I like, I'd have to say would be Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, the new Skyrim they did, and then I like all the Call of Duties. So, I got into gaming at an early age, man. I started playing, I guess we go back early days, 81, 82, when I had the Atari. I started playing, I've had probably every game you can think of. I had Space Invaders, Galaga, Asteroids, Pac-Man, Pitfall. Then I've had hundreds of games, man, over the years. The one that sticks out the most would have to be Mario Brothers. I had that back in the day for the Nintendo. and then played it for many, many years. And then, but the games I do mostly today, I'd have to say, be the Elder Scrolls or Call of Duty. Anyway, my story today is, the main thing I want to say today is, I have all kind of hobbies. Fishing, whatever. Used to be drinking a lot, and I quit that. I leave one thing, go to another. It kind of seems like I got bipolar disease. And it kind of seems like I do one thing, get tired, and go to something else. So it kind of, I guess, God today for me is just, living for God is just the biggest hobby of all. He's brought me into more stuff than I can imagine. He's done more for me in the last year or two than I could never do for myself. But the main thing I'm saying, this is my story again, and it's just, he said all things are possible to them that believe in him, but they put him first, so whatever you're doing, just put, without God, it's not going to be possible. But he says, with him, all things are possible. So at an early age, everything I've ever done, I can say it's for God's glory. And it probably would have never happened had it been for God instilling in me to do it to begin with. But, enough said of me, okay? Another story I want to say is that, going back to actors and actresses, you look back through the periods of time where, per se, Brad Pitt and all these other big time actors, how they get to where they at, I mean, because are they glorifying God, or are they, like the story with Charlie Sheen, all the crap he went through, is he glorifying God? I don't see it. Arnold Schwarzenegger, all these other, Sylvester Stallone, Angelina Jolie, all these other big time actors, I follow them over the years, tried a little bit of everything, but I have a why question and I have a wonder question. A lot of mine's wondering at this point. My questions ain't been answered, but anyway, the dislikes and likes is kind of a little far-fetched, So where I'm at today, well, I'm 40 years old. I'm living in Flowery Branch. I'm just living the best I can, enjoying life, You got to, man. But yeah, I'm just a rhythm lead guitarist. I write instrumentals. I try to live the best I can for God. I go to Free Chapel Worship here in Gainesville. I have a girlfriend now. Life is really good. My daughter's getting closer to me. Family's getting closer to me. My bills are getting paid, thank God. I don't drink anymore. I'm celebrating almost 2 years this October of sobriety from alcoholism, and I thank God for that. Life is dang good today. It's damn good today, man. I'm happy, man. I'm more happier than I am sad. I can say this, honestly say this. I'm not depressed like I used to be, so thank God for that. I've got a lot going on, man, so your feedback's welcome, good or bad. Comment how you want. Anyway, I'm Chris Rowden. I'm a guitarist, a gamer. I live life to the fullest. Do or die. Live it like it should last. That's my motto. I just do the next best thing, man. Am I in Hollywood? Hell no. I'm just here in my house, but I'm living life to the fullest. I don't care what people think. being rich ain't everything, man. Having lots of money ain't everything in the world, you know. I think it's being happy with what you have and being content where you're at, you know. That's what I think is the best motto, the best way to go, you know. Anyway, this is my story. Thank you. You know, thanks a lot. Hope you can give me a good comment. If not, peace out. Wish the best to anybody, everybody.